On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick make their triumphant return to the airwaves, so you will be disappointed. In an attempt to change things up, these two sages of Star Wars will put on their Alien franchise caps as they will pivot to Alien Earth and break down each episode over the next few weeks. Fear not though, fandos, the dudes will always have a Star Wars crossover segment while the Xeno shows are airing. This week's will focus on what Xenos could do to some of the more iconic Star Wars creatures. Of course, we'll end the show with the question week responses and the latest round of top Star Wars fan artist features. Punch it, Chewie. Hey now, everybody, we're back. Yippee yahoo! Welcome back to the Star Wars Time Show. I gotta wake up. I'm still kind of on lackadaisical time. I'm off the next 3 weeks, so I'm not as fully engaged as I usually am. Hey there, Noah. We see you. Hi, hello, said hi. We did all four. Welcome to the Star Wars Time Show, where for the next few weeks we're going to be the Alien / Star Wars Time Show. We kind of took a cue from our Discord fans, the hardcore, the fandos as they call them. And they're like, hey, assholes, since there's nothing to talk about in Star Wars and you just keep pulling stuff out of your butt, random topics, tier lists, this, that, and the other thing, plot twists, why don't you do your breakdowns for Alien Earth? We're interested in that. And I was like, hey, if young Nick blesses it, we'll do it. And young Nick's like, why the fuck not? There's literally nothing to talk about. This will give us a few weeks to actually have live, ongoing TV content that the pop culture universe will be discussing. So we are here to help you. All right, good to say. Hey, look at this. We got Big Phil in the chat. That's a rarity.
Phil's in the chat.
Sir Dork coming in. Well, Sir Dork, you're going to have to tune out for a chunk of this show because we are going to break down the premiere here.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. But if you guys don't really care that much about spoilers for the show, stick around. Kramer says he met Sam Witwer.
Oh yeah,
on Saturday. Sick.
That's why. Hey, here's just a little press, little PR for our Discord. There is a somewhat active community in there. It's not many. It's like 10 of us that piss around each day and check in and inform those in the Discord what's going on. And yeah, Kramer hit that Rebel Scum Con that looked like a lot of creators got to do some cool shit. Obviously, we would never be invited to something like that because people hate us. They never want to play with us. So we've taken our ball and we have gone officially back to our homes. But it looked like a good little con for people that actually get included in Star Wars content creation, which is something I've just come to realize that's never going to be Nick and I for whatever reason. It's probably my fault, but that's okay. Neither here nor there. So, things are going to be a little different over the next few weeks. But listen, this is the Star Wars Time Show. So there's always time for Star Wars time. So don't you forget that. And we will most definitely, each one of these weeks that we're covering Alien Earth, we will have a little crossover segment featuring some Star Wars talk mixed in with the world of Alien. So if you're in the live stream chat right now, we've got some polls up for you that they're going to kind of key into Alien, maybe a little Star Wars. So go ahead and vote in the poll. We'll be throwing up a second poll here once we get into the Alien talk. But the first poll we got in the live stream for those in the chat is, who would win, a Rancor or a swarm of Xenos? I think the answer's pretty clear. We're at 67% swarm in the vertical chat, 67% swarm in the regular chat. So right now, the swarm is taking top tier. Hey there, Grey Goo. Noah, you don't need to feel bad for us. I'm just a little baby. It's okay. Just always look to Nick for the more stable one of this group. But yeah, I get sad sometimes that we don't get included. It's all good. All right, so yeah, don't make sure to hit the polls there in the live stream chat. A second one will be coming through, and if we could ever pin a comment on this live stream video when it's over, we would love for you to return and leave your response to your favorite moment of the Alien Earth 2-episode premiere, Neverland in Mr. October. We will get there, don't worry. But we always like to open the show with a little Ask Us Anything. And the fans, they had a few questions, Nick, while we were gone for a week. So let's get right into that and see what they wanted to know after we disappeared from the Star Wars Time show for a single week. And we'll have news on next week as well. Next week is definitely going to be a little different. I don't know if it's going to be a fully no-show type of week or if I'm going to try to do something live before I have to start my colonoscopy flushing day, which is next Wednesday.
Just live stream your colonoscopy,
right? Yeah. I'm gonna do it right from my bathroom. I'll do a phone live, and if you ever hear me going like oh, and you hear stuff hitting water, you know what's going on. So
there you go. That's next week's stream, everybody. Tune in.
Yeah. Noah, I like Noah over here. Noah's our singular person over in the vertical chat room here. And no, we've always been kind of buried under algorithms for whatever reason. Like I said, I don't know if it's our language, the way we look. We are old, so people are very ageist against us. I need to trim my beard, in fact, because that really gives my age away. Like Nick, we got the gray down there on the chin. So yeah, who knows? Who knows? I just, it's never worked out. Like I said, I should take the cue from our AI overlords and just realize that people don't give a shit about Matt, and that's okay. All right, I've been used to that my whole life. Okay. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and do a little Ask Us Anything from the fans. It's always fun. Sometimes they're Star Wars related, sometimes they're not. I think we have a good mix of AUA this week. So first up is our boy Gregu Snaps. So let me go ahead and bring up his screen here. We got the question, Nick. Who is truly the chosen one? Anakin Skywalker, Luke Skywalker, or someone else?
That's a good question. Here's what I'll say. I think that the chosen one prophecy is just some bullshit, straight up. Like, I don't think that there was or is a chosen one. I think that, as with most like philosophies and like world religions and belief systems and stuff like that, there's always like a figure, a chosen one, something like that, to like give people something to put their belief in, to put their faith in, to look forward to the future. And I feel like that's exactly what happened with the Jedi. Is like, the Jedi had been around for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and what was going on? There was just war between the Jedi and the Sith, war between the Jedi and the Mandalorians, war. Like, you always have some sort of battle going on. And they're like, well, when is all this going to end? When is all this going to end? And then the prophecy of the chosen one, bring balance to the Force. Only light side will ever exist again. It's just another one of the tenets of a belief structure that probably doesn't have any sway in actuality within the Force.
Yeah, I mean, deep down, I think the maker himself would say yes. Anakin is the chosen one. I know Obi-Wan and Darth Maul had feelings it might be Luke after all. You know, you got to give Obi-Wan a little bit of a break. He did see the supposed chosen one really F shit up. So I think when it was just real surface level, it's Anakin. But Nick's deeper answer is probably the real truth. All right. This one coming from Nick DePorto. Do you think Wim... Remember good old Wim from Skeleton Crew? It seems like 2 years ago that show came out. But Nick, do you think Wim would be a good Jedi?
I think that he would be a really good Jedi, especially within like the Grand Republic time, because he was like so dedicated to being a good Jedi. All he wanted to do was like, I just want to do the right thing. I just want to be, you know, the best friend that I can, do everything right, everything like that. And that's the kind of mindset that a lot of like Grand Republic Jedi had, where like they were excited to be trained and to learn the Jedi way and to follow the Jedi tenets and do those things. So I think he would.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he seems like a pretty sound individual. He had, you know, he had a little bit of adventure to his personality, which you could argue is anti-Jedi. But he's also living in an era where the whole Jedi Order isn't a thing anymore, and it's being reformed. So I think he would fit quite well in the new order. Now, would Luke take him? Who knows? Probably not. And if Luke did, he'd get him killed anyway. So let's just hope Wim stays away from the Jedi Order for all intent and purposes. All right, next question here. Tong Wars. Check this one out. Who's your dream director for a Star Wars movie, and what is the story timeline, Nick?
Dang, that's a really good question. I mean, I think that I would really like to see a Tarantino adaptation of Star Wars. but if you remember, like,
he wanted to do Star Trek.
I would say he was that close to getting a Star Trek movie, and I feel like, Tarantino tells very, very deep stories. He does really, really good character development and can build. I mean, like, we've seen him do it, but like, we've seen him build a world very quickly. With the Kill Bill stuff, he's going to be doing a sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like, even the worlds of their individual films, like Pulp Fiction, like, you feel engrossed in it as you're just watching that singular film. So I would really like to see his, like, artistic rendition of what he could do with Star Wars. I think it would be super interesting. And he's just a really talented and creative filmmaker.
Yeah, I've been sitting here and like, what clever answer could I give? So I'll give one that's probably going to get Nick upset, and I'd say Chris Nolan. Let's get really deep.
I was thinking
Let's get real deep with Star Wars, Nick, like real introspective and tackle the major themes, kind of like the way he goes through films. So yeah, maybe do it in the style of Memento, where it's told out of order and you don't really get the full picture until the end of the movie. I don't know. So.
Yeah,
like Divide's saying R-rated Star Wars. I've always been down for that. I remember with James Mangold, Guillermo del Toro, I believe. One of those two wanted to angle R. Remember, Guillermo was going to do like a Jabba the Hutt gangster type of flick, and I think Mangold mentioned, if he did get the Boba Fett, he would have wanted an R. So yeah, there's not enough R movies. I do feel like they're slightly making a comeback, but there was a good point of time in the early aughts, 2011, 12 and on, where you could tell all the studios were pulling away from R's because there's not as much money in an R movie because you exclude the audience. So, but they do seem to be making a bit of a comeback, which is nice. I mean, I just checked out Weapons was great. Alien Earth, which we're going to talk about, that's definitely a hard R. I mean, my God, the first 2 episodes, it's like so many boxes were checked if you're an Alien fan, like things you want to hear and see. I mean, the fact that we already got a mini Xeno tongue kill, that's just like, okay, I'm good. Like, the show has already won for me, because that's, to me, one of the best Xeno moves out there. Nick, when he opens his mouth and goes, "Whaga!" and, punches people's faces out with his mini face. So you got to love that type of stuff. All right.
Indeed.
Yeah. Oh, we forgot timeline. I guess for me, timeline, if it was Nolan, he would probably do well with the real mythical type of shit. So when they inevitably cancel Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi, just give it to Nolan. He can pick it up.
Yeah, I think Nolan would do well with it too. I think he would just have to, I don't think that a 3-hour Star Wars film would be as good as we think it would be by Nolan. I think it might drag a little bit. So if he could keep his runtime in check, I think he would be really good at it, because he's similar to Tarantino. He's a very good world builder for sure.
Hey, they're based. We always appreciate your super chat. I'm not going to put that one up on the screen because, it's a little depressing, although it's kind of clever. So there you go. It's up on the screen anyways. Hey, man,
hang in there, buddy.
We speak your name. May the force be with you. Don't worry. So shit always works out. It was meant to be, as a religious person would say, right? It's all in, Nick, it's all in God's plan. Okay.
It's all in Anakin Skywalker, the chosen one's plan, right? Like, it's all in the
Please, people,
plan.
don't shoot me here. Like, honestly, if you're religious, good for you. I don't really care. Just don't press your views on me. But I've been watching this Eye of the Storm doc on HBO. I might have talked about this 2 weeks ago. But it's basically, they're retelling major storm events that happened in this country, but using people's firsthand accounts, social media footage, cell phone footage. And in every one of these, Nick, it's like, oh, God, please save me. God, save Jesus saves. Jesus did everything. And I'm like, well, isn't he technically the one that unleashed hell upon you then? Right? I mean, doesn't God control everything? So is he not the one sending the hurricanes and the tsunamis and the tornadoes, or am I mistaken? So I just find it funny that we want to thank this almighty being that is the one that's also beating us down with nature. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, we broadcast in a vertical format and then a horizontal format. It's something YouTube recommended about a year ago. So typically our horizontal is more active in the chat, but a vertical gets more eyes on it. So like I said, I can't explain how the algo works, but yes, we've got so Mother Nature is its own thing. All right, got it. So who created Mother Nature? Or do we have multiple gods? Are we back to, what was it, polymorphic gods? Polygamy? All right.
Polytheism.
Yeah, there you go.
Polygamy is
like having multiple women.
Yeah, multiple husbands and or wives.
I don't know. It's an interesting thought on religion and faith in general. It's like, if this almighty being controls and creates everything, remember Noah and all that stuff? So, praise Jesus. All right. Would you rather live in a world of zombies or vampires? I like this.
Would I rather live in a world of zombies or vampires? I would say vampires, because zombies, at least, here's what I'll say about it. If it went down zombie-wise as it does in every zombie movie, where just all of the sudden, for no reason at all, there are so many zombies that, like, just a well-organized military can't deal with them. Like, that's how it always happens. It's like the zombie virus typically spreads one person at a time, but when it first starts, there's so many that you can't, like, take them out. So if it ends up being like that, I would rather be in a vampire movie, because vampires, honestly, they're mostly chill. It's like, don't fuck around at night. Just stay at home.
Yeah.
They can't cross your threshold unless you invite them in.
They like the party. They like the finer things in life.
Yeah. Like they seem like pretty chill people, they got to drink blood every now and then. But like, if you that there are vampires hanging out, just don't go outside at night, have house parties. Don't invite people in who you don't know. Easy. Boom. Done.
Yeah, I mean, what's the movie with Pitt and Cruise? Interview with a Vampire.
Interview.
Yeah, honestly, I know Brad Pitt's character is kind of tormented in the young girl, but Tom Cruise looked like he was having a good time. So yeah, I'm vampire all the way. I mean, you get to become immortal. You don't lose your mind and your looks. You get to stay whatever age you were when you were bitten. So hopefully they bite me now before I get much older, but. I'm with Nick. Vampires just seem to have way more fun, and they're typically they're not brainless, and they're usually not just trying to take over the entire world. They kind of just want their food and fun, and that's kind of how I am anyway. So vampire all the way.
Pretty chill.
All right. Based and Brazen, what's a movie or game that you'd like to go back and experience one more time?
So like playing it for the first time again, like you've never, like you forget everything that the game is about.
Correct.
I would say game wise, it would be the Last of Us, the first Last of Us.
Whoa.
That one was
about
a
zombies.
Killer. Yeah.
Those are talking about zombies there.
Movie. I mean, I would probably pick the first Star Wars. I'd probably pick A New Hope, because I was pretty young when I saw that, and I would like to experience, like I would like to have that first time experience again, like seeing Star Wars and like reacting to it and everything like that. So probably, yeah,
not
Last
a wrong
of Us
answer.
And A New Hope.
Not a wrong answer. All right, movie for me. I like Nick's idea, sticking in the Star Wars realm. I'm gonna go Empire, because
nice.
Like we were talking during the Twist episode 2 weeks ago. I know I heard the "No, I am your father," and it hit me, but I was such a young person that I can't even remember the emotions I felt when I first learned that. So I would like to go through that now with a somewhat functional, maybe holier brain, but more adult brain, if you will. Game for me, it's probably always going to go back to Final Fantasy VII. I think that's still. I'll never forget being 17 playing that on the PS1 and it just, I was never, ever, ever, because games weren't made that way up until 97, but I was never emotionally moved by a game until that. The whole thing with Aerith and Cloud, and I was like, holy shit, a game can make a testosterone-fueled 17-year-old male sad? That's pretty impressive, so... All right, I think we got a couple more here. Here we go. Divided, Abby Sky. If you could be friends with any alien from any movie, show, or book, not limited to Star Wars, who would your alien buddy be?
Damn, that's a good question. Any alien friend, alien friend. I'm trying to think of like movies where aliens come down and they don't just immediately fuck everything up.
Think about
right?
this. Don't think about it that way. I would think about, even if it's like a predator, he would still be your friend, Nick. He might not like every other human, but he'd be your friend.
Yeah, in that instance, I would probably, yeah, I would probably pick the predator, because predators they're not just like mindless killing machines. They're intelligent. They can commute, like, even though they don't speak the same language as us, there's the same like level of understanding, and they're fucking badass as hell. So I would probably pick predator.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, hey, listen, call me Weyland-Yutani Jr., but I would roll with a pack of Xenos and take over the world. So there you go.
Yeah.
I would literally have a farm full of Xenos, but we'd be friends. They might even talk to me like in Spaceballs, or do a little dance, a little tap dance on a diner counter. Yeah, I mean, I've got Xenos on the mind. Let's just say, I mean, watched 2 hours of Alien Earth last night, and they didn't screw around. I mean, there's no hiding the big bad here, although the big bad technically is probably the galactic-wide corporations. I mean, that's another plot point that I kind of dig. But Geiger's, it was based on a Giger. Is it Giger or Geiger? The artist that created Geiger, that created the look of the alien. And it is, to me, one of the most, if not the most iconic looking creature, alien thing of all time. And I just absolutely love the Xenos. Like I said, sign me up. I'm Weyland-Yutani all the way. I want my bioweapon. All right, we got another question here from Phil. Favorite console RPG of all time? I got to go with Kingdom Hearts 2. Just about a perfect game in my opinion. Well, I'm going to go first here because I hate to do a double answer, but it's going to be Final Fantasy VII. Sorry. It's just, I've played that game probably 7 times on multiple platforms. Even the remake I've gone through and played, and wholeheartedly enjoy the changes to that. So I'm stuck on FF7. Sorry, I'm lame. Yeah.
Phil and I used to play a lot of Kingdom Hearts together. We would play. We would hang out when we were in high school and stuff. We would go over to, different our friends' houses, bring Kingdom Hearts over, try to beat like the special bosses together. I remember one time we were passing the controller around trying to kill Sephiroth in the first game, and we were like, we can't get it, and somebody finally got it. Favorite console RPG. Since Phil went with Kingdom Hearts 2, I'm gonna go with Final Fantasy 10. I'm gonna go with Final Fantasy 10 because that was the first one.
What's that guy? What's his name? Is that Titus. Cloud? No, that's not Cloud. That's
7.
Damn it! What's his name?
Titus.
Titus? Yeah. He played that underwater spike ball soccer game, right?
Yeah, Blitzball.
Yeah.
Awesome. Blitzball was sick as hell, dude. I spent so much time playing Blitzball because that's how you got Waka's ultimate weapon. Like
Waka, Waka. Yeah. Dude, if you think about it, I know we're on a tangent here, but FF7 through 10, it's probably the most peak run that Final Fantasy had. Like Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, and 10. Are just top notch.
Yeah, definitely. 11 was online. That was an MMO, so that was online only.
Right.
I actually do. If you've never played 12 is really good. The combat system's very interesting, and I think it like kind of has that same feel as like the medieval kind of feel that Final Fantasy 16 has. So it hadn't gotten to the point to where it was like crazy advanced technology or like something like that, but 12, I know they've done remakes of 12 too. I would definitely recommend playing 12.
Yeah, so I'm big homer for the FF for sure. All right, and that
Mhm.
does not rap ask us anything. Holy crap. Kramer, how was your vacation? It's not really a vacation, but it was nice. It was a nice time. Got to do some family stuff with people that lost a parent within the past year, so it was a good time here. Yeah, story's got some good stuff in the vertical stream. Story, if I can, I'm gonna come back to your. We are gonna do a segment on Star Wars creatures versus aliens, and I think you had a good point with the Krayt Dragon and the whatever the Terran Tataks are. I like that. But yeah, Final Fantasy 13, that was a good one too. All right.
13 was the first 13 was fun. The other two, like 13-2 and 13-3
Yeah,
or Lightning
right.
Returns, not as
Right.
good. I did like 13.
Okay, he followed up with thoughts on Matt Smith and Mia Goth joining the cast of Star Wars. Well, until it's made official, I'm not going to put too many thoughts to it, although Matt Smith was technically supposed to be in episode 9. So I don't know if this is like a mea culpa to bring him back. And from what I've seen of Mia in X and Pearl, I mean, she's got chops. I know she's always kind of played a little bit of a daring,
off kilter.
Yeah, little off type of character. But hey, if they are actually cast, I think it's a good thing. I mean, this is starting to turn into one of the more star-studded Star Wars projects, which I know some purists are probably vomiting in their mouth over. But I look at it as like if you get a bunch of talent behind the project, it should end up being pretty good. I mean, these actors are all pretty good, so you should be able to see them as their Star Wars character, not as Matt Smith or Gosling or other characters they played. So
yeah, and I think that Levy he's worked with big enough actors to where he won't be intimidated by it.
Reynolds and Jackman. So
yeah, so like Levy, like sometimes if you like throw a bunch of stars in a movie and you have a young director that's never worked with that level of talent before, shit can go wrong. Like the director can get walked all over. Like it can have a negative effect. But Levy is a very, like you said, he did Deadpool and Wolverine. He's done Free Guy. He's done a lot of stuff. So
he can handle his talent. So I'm not worried about that. Base, I just saw that comment down here. You should definitely play the Final Fantasy VII remakes on PS5. They're not just a movie. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of cutscenes, but there's full on gameplay. I'd say 50 to 70 hours in the first one, even more in the second one. The second one, when you're in the full map, there's all sorts of shit to do. All right, last from Kramer, are they ever going to tie in the events? Well, based on what we saw in the premiere of Alien Earth, and I'll go over all this because you know me, I'm a geek, I'm a dork. I went down and made sure I knew all the timeline of Alien all the way back to Prometheus up through Alien 3 or whatever, or Alien Resurrection. No, from what I've read, it sounds like Noah Hawley, the showrunner, the creator of Alien Earth, who's done some fantastic work. If you ever watch Legion, that's another Noah Hawley show. So the guy knows what he's doing. But I read many times over that he's like, yeah, the prequel stuff I'm not concerned about. I'm making the show more in relation to Alien 1979. So he's not necessarily worried about the canon from Prometheus and Covenant. And I'll bring up, there's already clear retcon going on in Alien Earth if you compare the timelines of Covenant and Alien Earth, and the fact that the Maginot crew was out on a 65-year mission and they somehow found facehuggers, which technically shouldn't have existed till David created them in Covenant. So things are definitely weird, but I think it's okay. I think Alien Earth, until Ridley can finish his David trilogy, I think Prometheus and Covenant are always just kind of be their own little thing that has little clues as to why shit happens in Earth, and then Alien, and then Romulus, and then Aliens, and so on and so forth. You guys are going to go to school today. Just be prepared. All right. Last one here from our boy Spencer. Thoughts on WWE TKO's new $30 a month bullshit for people? I think it's terrible, like the rest of the wrestling community. I don't know if it really matters because they sign a deal, so they get their money. It'll be ESPN that loses money. So maybe if you boycott a full season, you might get them to change their price. But as of right now, it looks like as Spencer's saying, if you want to watch the premium events for WWE, so WrestleMania, SummerSlam, shit like that, you're going to have to spend $30 a month on this new ESPN Mega app coming out soon. All
Not good.
Yeah. Whatever. I mean, there's so much shady shit is happening right now in this country. It's like you can't fucking keep your head straight. It's just so many backroom deals are being cut. I mean, all this got cut because the guy got paid $16 million from Paramount because the guy that runs Paramount Sun runs the FCC, and just connect all the dots. And now Paramount just cut a mega deal with UFC. It's just like money is flowing, and it's lots of money, but we're the ones that the consumer gets screwed in the end. Yeah, the alien, the eyeball alien. All right. So there you go. That's our Ask Us Anything. We do it every week. Like I said, if you want to get involved, you just got to be following us on socials. We throw it up in our Discord. We throw it up on Twitter, Instagram, even the YouTube channel. So check it out. Get involved if you know what I mean. All right, before we get into our breakdown of Alien Earth, he's gonna take my news apps away. Well, here's the deal. Do you want to be like sitting there 3 years from now and going like, oh shit, how did this happen? It's very clear what's going on. Just look to Washington, D.C. and the announcement on Monday, okay? All right? We're not going to talk about it. That's not this type of show, but if you bury your head, you're complicit. I'll just put it out like that. All right. Here we go. We always do a little pop culture talk before the Star Wars stuff. Even though we're doing Alien, we still got some Star Wars. We're going to do Alien versus Star Wars after our breakdown. But before that, I checked out a nice little horror flick this week or last week called Weapons. This comes from the dude, Zach Krieger, who did Barbarian, which I still think is one of the scariest movies I've seen in my entire 45 years of existence. And Weapons, young Nick, I didn't get to catch it live last week, saw it on Monday. But it's a very good film, okay? Good acting, good cast. It's one of those stories that's kind of told out of order through different point of view characters, which is interesting if done right. And I think that's kind of my big complaint is I found the boil of the narrative to be a bit too slow. Like they spent a little bit too much time setting things up and maybe spending more time with a POV character than they needed to. And I did not find it to be as chill and blood-curdling as other critics have found it. I actually think there's a bit of hyperbole around this movie. A little overhypeness where people are like, I don't think I'll ever be able to go home or look at kids the same way again. I'm like, hey, come on, that's a little over the top. There are some definite chilling moments in this film where the skin reacts to what you're seeing, and I wouldn't necessarily call them jump scares, but it's not the scariest movie I've ever seen. And I will say at times, Nick, I was like, okay, let's just get to it's not hard to figure out what the twist is going to be, what the reveal is going to be. So can we just get there? So that was my biggest complaint on Weapons. I feel like they let things stew a bit too long before ripping off the Band-Aid. And unless you watch it with your eyes closed, it's pretty easy to guess the big mystery. Base and Brazen is asking, is it scary? Yeah, it's scary. But if you've seen Barbarian, in my opinion, that is much scarier than Weapons. Like Barbarian's a movie where you're literally saying, like, can we please stop? Like, just don't go there. Don't go down that dark hole. Don't do this. It's one of those types of horror flicks where this is more, it's more creepy than anything. So there you go. There's Weapons for you. It's well worth seeing. I mean, I'm not gonna. It's like a 7.5, 8 out of 10 type of flick. I just think if you go on Rotten Tomatoes or listen to the media, it's being overblown a tad, and I can't figure out why. Yeah, stories saying Weapons uses magic as plot armor despite the slow build-up, making it predictable to most. Yeah, I'm kind of with Story. It is good. It's a good movie, but it's not this cultural event that I think the mainstream media has made it out to be. All right. There you go, Nick. Anything to share, or should we get right into this pop culture doozy?
Yeah, nothing from me. Have not seen anything new recently other than Alien Earth. And yeah, I mean, weapons, I've just seen the commercials and stuff for it, so nothing super into it for me. So
All
might
right.
catch it when it comes on
Well,
streaming.
you know what? Since you're talking and we're about to kick off our breakdown of Alien Earth, the premiere, episodes 1 and 2, Neverland and Mr. October. If you're new here, the way we break down content, we usually each give our own little review, how we feel about it, and then we'll start diving into moments that might have stood out, questions we may have had while watching. It's not going to be as detailed as our Star Wars show breakdowns because I just didn't feel like putting in that much effort. But I've got plenty of questions, plenty of things I want to run by Nick to see what the hell he thought. And like I said, if you got questions in the chat about timeline or how this lines up to the other alien stuff, ask away. I did a deep dive today with our boys, my digital companion, who is now literally taking over the world, ChatGPT 5, and he helped me out quite well. Base and Brazen, Fantastic Four review. You must have missed mine because I know I got that out before I left. Enjoyed it, but it felt it was still just post Phase 3 MCU. Nothing like, wow, it doesn't really feel like it ties into the rest of the movies or sets anything up, and it didn't really get me excited to see what's coming next. All right, here's one for you, and then we'll get into it. This comes from Storyteller with all sorts of consonants. Nick, do you feel apprehensive due to the new aliens being nostalgic, thus for making your judgment more reserved?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't tell the fucking difference. Like the last Alien movie that I saw was Covenant, which came out in 2017. I think it was 8 years ago. I haven't seen Romulus. I don't know anything about this franchise. If I'm just to be completely honest, like I don't know if there's even been references to the franchise within the first 2 episodes of this show. So it does not matter to me. As far as I can tell, I saw the Xenomorph design and I was like, oh, that looks like the same shit that I saw when I saw the first movie. So like, I just don't have that much knowledge about
the
this.
Xenos typically have a very standard look. Some will get other abilities like using their crawling on all fours. Yeah, I think it was Alien 3 where they got into dogs and cows and had a slight different form to them. But for the most part, they look the way they look. And there are going to be things I'm going to talk about because, like I said, there's some weird shit. And I'm actually going to address this in Divide Skywalker's question. She's asking, I've never watched Alien except AVP. Would this show be a good jumping in point? I would put it this way, Divided. If you're like a lore purist and you like to know everything, you want all the boxes checked, you should go Prometheus, Alien Covenant, Alien Earth, Alien Romulus, Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection. That's the timeline, the correct timeline. Prometheus and Covenant, like I said, though, the creator of Alien Earth is on record saying, yeah, I'm not really worried about those. So if you don't want to spend all that time, then yes, Alien Earth is probably the best spot to start because it's set 2 years before Alien 1979. So there you go. But Noah Hawley isn't going to cover anything about Black Goo or the engineers in this show. I think that's been made pretty clear, and that's what Prometheus sets up. But there are weird things that lead me to believe there's been some retconning in this show, which is fine. Because like I said, until Ridley finishes the David trilogy, it's just kind of hovering out there in the lore, and some of the canon isn't necessarily respected by the rest of the franchise. Although Romulus definitely tips its hat to the David duology at this point in time. All right, so let's get into it. Nick, go ahead and let everyone know. What did you think about the premiere? I'll go next, and then we'll just... I've got all sorts of shit I want to talk about, so we'll just kind of flow through it.
Yeah, for me, I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. We watched the first episode last night. We watched the second episode today. So just got caught up recently. I liked that they kept the aesthetic within the ship that you first see. That was like pretty close to what
we're on the Nostromo here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it's very, very reminiscent of the original Alien movie. When you like see that, I was like, man, this looks like like the crew dress was the same. Like they made everybody look like they were, coming straight out of 1979. So I was a big fan of like the initial visual aspects of it. I think that the special effects are fantastic. I mean, apparently this is the most expensive show that Hulu has ever produced, I believe,
Is that
even
what put them out of
beating
business? Isn't Hulu essentially getting phased out at the end of this year completely by Disney?
I mean, they've been owned by Disney for a bit now, but now they're just kind of wrapping Hulu into Disney Plus, which
Got
just
it.
operationally makes sense. And in fact, for me, I've had Hulu inside of Disney Plus for like a year and a half
Yeah,
now,
you
so
you
it's
are
actually
master
pretty
bundle.
nice. Yeah. So, uh, but I mean, look, the quality of the show is fantastic. I think that the storyline that's been presented thus far through the characters or through the character of Wendy has been really interesting to kind of view this, like to partially view this really fucked up world through the eyes of a child that has been inserted into a synthetic body. Um, so that's been really cool to track and to keep track of. And the world of, I mean, like the alien Prometheus, world is so well developed that you don't have to reach to get to things, or you don't have to like, really make stuff up on the spot. Like they have a lot of lore to play with, and it seems like they're doing well with like working within the bounds of what they already have available to them, and then also introducing some new factors into the show. So for me, I thought it was very, very interesting. Like really, if you like sci-fi horror, like this is going to be right up your alley because it's gory as hell. Like the horror elements, like the jump scare horror elements of it are definitely present. And I think that the Xeno, at least as far as we've seen it thus far into the first two episodes, looks dangerous. It looks good, and excited to see what comes after it. Yeah, for sure.
All right. I was hoping I could get the next poll up while you were still going, but that's not going to be the case. I got it up in the vertical chat, people, so check it out. The next poll coming. Which Star Wars planet falls to Xenomorphs first? We got Endor, Tatooine, Naboo, and Coruscant. The Rancor poll in the vertical chat, we had the Swarm winning with 66% of the votes. Let me in our regular chat, Nick, we had the Swarm winning with 80% of our votes. So regular people, I'll get the poll up here the next time Nick starts talking here, but I can't do it because now I've got to review. So I'm kind of on the same page as Nick. I know a lot more about Alien. I'll get to you here story in a second. I see your question there. Let me get through this my review real quick. I'm definitely not as knee deep in Alien lore as I am Star Wars, but I am fairly into it. Like I said, I just used my AI today to kind of refresh my brain on everything from Prometheus through Alien Resurrection to get timelines straightened out, to remember plot details from the prequels, Prometheus and Covenant, and try to see how all that stuff ties together. And I'm not going to get into the retconny type of stuff quite yet. I'll stick to my critical response. I thoroughly loved it. I mean, it was fantastic. I mean, it looks like a film. It behaves like a film. The cast feels like, they've all done this before. Seeing our boy Cobb Vanth as a synthetic is pretty interesting. I like how they gave him white hair, and you can tell he's clearly a synth. I mean, an android. He's just like Bishop, all right? And I'll get into that because there's definitely some confusion in our Discord last night on who is what and who controls what, and the different types of people trying to become immortal, if you will. But it was like Nick, I do like that we're kind of getting this delivered to us by this Wendy character, who is the first ever hybrid. And the hybrid is something we never knew existed in Alien. So I have a feeling through the corporate wars and what is happening in this show, Weyland-Yutani is going to ensure they win by taking out Prodigy, therefore their hybrid solution. But Wendy is the first hybrid, which is a synthetic body with a human mind essentially passed into it. And it's a very interesting character because, like Nick said, it was a young girl that was dying of a terminal disease, and they pump her into an adult body. And so you kind of get some interesting hijinks with that. She has the Lost Boys, which is another crew of sick kids that then go through the same procedure. and they're more or less what I would call, Nick, superheroes. You know, they can be killed, but not so easily like a regular human, as we've seen with Bishop, who is a full android. I mean, he can be chopped in half and still live. Everything's good to go. But what we see in this show early on, that Wendy has super strength, super speed, even though it looked wonky as hell, and it was a very weird kind of cut scene between the little girl becoming Wendy, and it goes into like a music montage, and then she jumps off a cliff and runs away like a Jedi. So I found that to be a little jarring. But it's also good. The stuff with the alien, like Nick said, making the Magino look very much like Nostromo, so it evoked all that nostalgia. The Xeno operates lethally as it should. This one, I would say, has less discretion than other Xenos. I absolutely loved that French party it attended. That was pretty interesting. And like I said, getting this, anytime you get to see an alien kill someone with its mini head in its mouth, it's as authentic alien as it gets. So for a premiere, I think Alien Earth knocked it out of the park. The only things I found to be a bit jarring were both of the ends of the episode. It just like ramps up rock and roll music and fades to black. And I was just like, that's a little quick. I mean, especially the second one, Nick, it's literally just as Wendy delivers a fantastic line, like, hey, you guard the omelets. I was like, yeah, that's so fucking cool. She calls the alien eggs omelets. And then it just kicks into Tool Stink Fist. It's like, what the fuck is going on here?
Boom. I mean, it's the structure of the episodes has been really fun for me to follow along with, especially the second one, where you're kind of living in both like Wendy's head and then in Joe's head, her brother. Like, obviously, like spoilers will be part
spoilers,
of this,
by the way, for the Alien Earth premiere. So like, I'm not going to go, we're just going to recap some plot moments. I mean, so if you want to go in clean, I understand you kind of plugging your ears or pausing us for the time being, but there will be spoilers here.
Yeah, I mean, and I will say that like there's not going to be huge, like there hasn't been stuff that's happened thus far in the 2 episode that's like massive, like plot shattering. Like if you find this out, you can't even watch it. Like it's not super deep yet, but I liked how they had like the Wendy perspective and the Joe perspective, and then those two collided towards the end of the episode. And then, like you mentioned, how the episode ends was just wild. And really, like, because I don't know so much about this franchise other than just like, relative Xenomorph lore, I've seen all of the movies except for Alien Romulus. Like I've seen Prometheus, I've seen Covenant, I've seen the original Alien movies, I've seen both AVPs. So like I've seen them all, but it's just not something that I have like a deep knowledge of. I am wondering, like, I don't know what Earth looks like in like the post, Alien like 1 frame. Like, so is it like, it's interesting to me to see like what, like a Xeno is clearly loose. There are other Xeno eggs that are on this fucking ship. There may be a second Xeno. I think I may have seen a second Xeno.
I'll show it in screenshots. There was at least, and there might have been more, Nick. It's like, I want to talk about that, but I'll let you finish your point. But I'm with you. There's at least 2. There's at least, because I saw 2 bursted chests in the cryopods. Plus they had the dude on that medical table that had the face hugger's penis down his throat. So
so I'm not sure how many there are, but like if Alien, it only takes 1 or 2 of these things to fuck up a
whole colony. So like they can take out a colony of humans, as we see in Aliens.
Easily. So like, what is it like? I really am interested just knowing like the capability of Xenos and how they reproduce and like how quickly they can take over. Like, what does this mean for Earth moving forward? Because they're loose. They're going to get out of this fucking ship. It seems like, at at this point. So it does the show has done a really good job of like keeping you invested in what's happening, even though we're only a couple episodes in and we still haven't left like the husked out, like the crashed out building and ship yet. Like we're still in that
Yes.
same spot.
Yes.
So yeah.
We haven't even seen Weyland-Yutani show up yet. That's going to cause a whole other bunch of problems for Prodigy and Wendy and the Lost Boys. And I think that's ultimately going to be the main plot of this show, is going to show to fans, this is why we don't hear about hybrids in Alien proper, and this is why Weyland-Yutani becomes the dominant galactic corporation when we catch up with Ripley and Aliens in 3 and then Resurrection. I have a feeling this Neverland, this new Siam, is probably going to be nuked out of existence by the time this show is over, and it's going to take out the boy genius. It's going to take out all the hybrids, because really, like, I'll get into some of the prequel stuff here. Like, the whole point of Prometheus, to everyone, if you've seen it or not seen it, was Peter Weyland. Yes, that Weyland. This is before it was Weyland-Yutani. He learned about this race called the Engineers that he thought seeded life across planets. So he wanted to find them, and he knew they were kind of on this one planet, and he ultimately wanted to figure out immortality. Okay, and that theme is already right back in Alien Earth. And if you look at the 3 types of immortal paths that kick off this series, you have the cyborgs. So that would be our Morrow character, the security officer on the Maginot. He is cybernetically enhanced, but still a human. You then have the synthetics, which we've always known. These has always been part of Weyland-Yutani. And those are your Kirsch, I believe, is a full synthetic, even though he's working for Prodigy. But you have this new one from Alien Earth, the hybrids. And if you think about Peter Weyland's initial motivation to go on these expeditions to find the engineers who ultimately had the black goo that ultimately led to the creation of Xenomorphs, the hybrids are the answer. So I'm wondering why they never persist beyond Alien Earth, because we never see them again. Does Weyland-Yutani take them out, or do they steal the technology to use for the rich people? Who knows? But all that stuff is interesting, and probably the only real ties to Prometheus that I can point out directly. Story, I'm trying to look for your initial question there on. It was on Prometheus, but it looks like it's out of the chat here. Where did it go?
Yeah, I think that, like, for me, when the first time I saw Prometheus, I remember when it was releasing, Ridley Scott's like, it's not an alien movie. It's not an alien movie. It's like, it's something different. It's not an alien movie. And then you see it and you're like, oh, the eggs look like alien eggs. Those look like facehugger eggs.
You know what? Like, let's just kind of get into this. And this is the one retcon thing that I do find to be a little weird, like a little like, okay, all right, no, like you must have really hated Covenant and Prometheus, which is weird because Ridley Scott signed off on Alien Earth and thinks it's fantastic, so I guess he's okay with it being kind of retcon. But correct me if I'm wrong, but David creates the first Xenomorphs that we know of in Alien Covenant, which takes place 16 years before Alien Earth. Yet the Maginot was on a 65-year mission, and they brought back facehuggers that made a Xeno that only David technically created on the planet in Covenant. So
yeah, I mean, it's so hard to tell because like you had a proto Xenomorph that popped out of fucking somebody's chest at the end of Prometheus.
They call it, from what I had to do a little research, Nick, and you had like there's 3. You had like the worm thing from Prometheus that got the guy, and then you had what they call Deacon, who is the guy that he becomes kind of like a crazy alien character. I can't remember if is there a burster at the very end?
You see like what essentially looks like a full Xenomorph walking like in the facility after like
I know it's because I think an engineer gets hit by some black goo or something, right?
Yeah, some shit like that, and like you see a Xeno, and I was like, okay, like it may not be Xeno whatever, but like it may not be the official one, but it's like this is as fucking close to a Xenomorph as you can be without being one. It seemed like at the end of Prometheus, and I was like, okay, it's a fucking alien movie. Let's not beat around the bush. but with shit like this, it's so hard, right? Because I don't know, you could easily be like, did David create the first one in Covenant, like you said, or is like there was already evidence that there were like xenomorph like creatures that were being researched before the team arrived on that planet in Covenant. So it's like, did he really create one, or did he just have the necessary, know how to actually birth one? So that could mean that like these motherfuckers could be everywhere across the galaxy, and you wouldn't even know. Because like I just
Christopher
remember
Bailey
seeing,
he's got us. Yeah, the engineer gets affected by a starfish, so it's not the true xenomorph. Like I know for a fact in Covenant, if you look in David's hovel, he's got the plant. Like he did nothing but testing to figure out how to create the black humanoid looking xenomorph. I think he even uses what Naomi Rapace's character to kind of chest burst it or birth it, who was in Prometheus with David. So I find that to be odd. Like, but hey, who the fuck knows what these engineers were doing? I asked my AI, like, listen, this is kind of weird. If the Maginot was on a 65-year mission and they're literally bringing back face huggers in jars, that means David's creation existed before he created it. Or did David actually create face huggers, or face huggers their own thing? So it gets really fucking weird. But in the end, engineers, black goo, different planets around the galaxy. I guess we could sit there and be like, is it a full retcon? I don't know. It's one of those like, meh. Is it really a big deal? Probably not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just too expansive of a world to be to like really know. I mean, like who the fuck honestly knows? But clearly at this point, these creatures are ready and raring to go on Earth with their standard face hugger.
And Nick, this is the first time we've seen Earth in an alien proper film. We've never been like on planet. So like I said,
other than AVP, but that's not like technically that's separated.
Correct. You are right. And I'm with you. I think there's got to be at least 2 active Xenos, and there is a nest, the omelet, if you will. So let's be real. New Siam and all of Prodigy is getting nuked by the end of this series, because I think Weyland-Yutani is ultimately, they're going to want to come in and get their shit, as we see Morrow trying to do on his own. But I also think they are a corporation. Once they get their shit, they're then going to make sure no one else can get their shit. And they're going to pin all this on Prodigy and be like, Prodigy's the one that let this get out and cause havoc on New Siam. And the only way to deal with this thing is a tactical nuke. See a competition.
Yeah, I mean, and they've already set it up, right? Like you had the phone call between the boy
literally
Genius
Yutani,
and Yutani.
Yes.
Yeah, and she's like, look, we just want our stuff back. Just like, let us come in, let us get our shit. We'll get out of your hair. We're like, she's not even like trying to start shit. She's just like, our ship crashed. I know it hit your stuff. Let us get our stuff. We'll be out of your hair. And this kid's like, fuck you, not letting you in. I'm taking all your stuff. So like, Yutani's already like, well, I'm going to let all them die because they're for sure fucked, because she knows what's on that shit.
Yeah, that's my other thing. It's like, I had some questions in here. I mean, essentially, here we go. Weyland-Yutani, or Weyland before it merged with Yutani, they've always known about these bioweapons out there. Or why? Yeah. I mean, we haven't even talked about the 3 other random fucking alien weapons that were on this ship. I mean, you had the little creepy crawlers that got the 2 dudes hooked to pipes. You have the eyeball thing that infected a cat, then tried to take on the Lost Boys. And then you have this fucking pod coming out of the ceiling that was going to go after another one of the Lost Boys, but I think it realized it wasn't human, so it went, not my type of host. So
exactly,
it's pretty crazy. But you have to start to think like storytellers bringing up here, like the AI mother, whatever you want to call it, Weyland-Yutani's AI. Is the AI the one that's influencing a lot of this stuff? Is it, as Storyteller was saying, I kind of buy into this, is it a case of telephone and relating the information about the origins of these facehuggers and bioweapons, and what was Weyland-Yutani's mission for the Maginot? Like 65 years ago, they're like, and 65 years ago, again, this is pre-Prometheus, This is like, honestly, in our timeline almost, because a lot of this doesn't take place too much far from where we are right now.
It's 21. The show itself takes place in 2120, which is 2 years before the Alien movie.
Correct.
So if you go back 65 years, it's what, 2057, 2055.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So and humans are already doing 805 million miles worth of space travel and collecting crazy. So listen, it's all sci-fi, so I don't even know why we're going down that route. But you do have to wonder, how much does Weyland-Yutani really know about the face huggers, the Xenos, this, that, and the other thing? Because it feels to me like they sent this Maginot out purposely to collect random bioweapons from around the galaxy.
And then I wonder, like, we're saying, like, well, how does this happen? Because, they created the first thing on like, they could have literally found it because it was both Yutani missions, right? Like, Maginot is a Yutani mission.
Here's where shit gets weird, Nick. Back in Prometheus and Covenant, it's still just the Weyland Corporation. They had not merged yet. And in Alien Covenant, you got to remember, it's just David. Like, he's gone rogue on this one magical planet that the engineer is supposed to be like paradise. And he uses I believe there was a colony there, and he more or less uses them for his experiments to master the Xenomorph we come to know, fear, and love that we now see in Alien Earth and then in Aliens proper. So
I wonder is, like, this ship's been out and it's clearly coming back to Earth. Did it just swing by that planet because they heard, like, oh yeah, like, there was some creature that a Weyland synth was able to make, so we need to go pick this up and put it, like, and bring it back with
now
us.
You're starting to tap into, like, some of the weird shit, because 65 years ago was before Weyland's David created the shit. So how would they know?
Yeah, but that's when their journey started, right? Like, on the way back.
I got you. So like
they're coming back and they're like, oh, we're still 10 years out from Earth, but we can make this quick pit stop here, pick up these fucked up things, and then come back.
I like that. That very well could explain some things where they're like, by the way, you've picked up the creepy crawlers, you picked up the eyeball fuck and the pod fuck. We just got a transmission from one of our old assets that we thought went rogue. You need to go here. I think it was LV223.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, Nick. Yep. All right, Nick. Yeah. Okay.
It's the same people. It's the same people,
that jives in my head.
If Weyland knows that David has created something like this, he's like, well, bring that shit back too. Fuck. Come on.
Yeah. Okay.
Bring it home.
Okay. But here's where shit gets even weirder. And let me find the screenshot. So, Nick, Weyland clearly equipped Morrow with technology that they know or knew could subdue an alien, which we've never seen before. I was absolutely shocked when Morrow pulls out just a little fucking pistol and Ghostbuster zaps the Xeno and then coats it in a sack of jizz. So they clearly... Now, Nick, do you think that gun was just for the Xenos, or do you think they equipped them with this because they knew they were going out on a mission to find dangerous organisms?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like at least the trapping method was there because they're like, we're going out. There's going to be some dangerous stuff. Clearly, the Xeno had no problem breaking out of that shit once it, was
it could
smell
fear, right? Is what he said, or it could.
Yeah. So like.
Well, how did he know that? That's my other thing. How does Morrow know, or why didn't it attack Morrow? Like, is it because he's cybernetic and he's not full human, so he can't be a host? Or is it because he can hide his fear? I don't know. I mean, he pulled a fucking knife out and was sitting there like,
Yeah, I think Morrow's just a little tweaked now. Like, I don't think that they actually, like, I'm sure that they can sense a fear response, but I think that the reason they don't fuck with him is because, as to quote Star Wars, he's more machine than man now, right?
Correct.
Like, he's not gonna.
You can't grow your seed in it, so it's not worth bringing back to kind of feed for chest bursting.
Yeah, it's like, don't expend the energy. It's not even worth the time. Just move on.
Right.
But that weapon itself, like, that is one of the first things that we've ever seen that's been able to successfully, easily subdue a Xeno.
Just took it down in two fucking seconds. He's like, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it did more damage to the Xeno than Nemec, and I call him Nemec because that's our boy Nemec playing Joe DiMaggio, aka the Hermit. Get some.
That's right. That's right. But
Mr. Manifesto.
I mean, it was really interesting to see that happen, because it's like, if you've seen Alien movies before, you're like, well, this thing's out there fucked. Like, there's no way that they can do anything about it. And then this dude just rolls in with an electricity gun and it's over. Yeah, so it's been interesting thus far watching it, and I wonder if, like, I mean, Morrow is clearly still in the mode of keep the specimens, like,
you got to execute the mission. Back. Yeah, Bailey's asking, do you think Morrow? Yeah, he is. Here, I got to bring up the screen because a lot of people miss this part. There are three.
He is technically human.
Yeah, there are 3 classes of wannabe immortals. All right, right here. In the future, the race for immortality will come in 3 guises. Cybernetically enhanced humans, aka cyborgs. That is Morrow. I mean, they even call him a cyborg in the opening, so we know that's
in the beginning.
So yes, he is still mostly human, but as we see, he's got that crazy, mechano arm, or it's almost like a nano arm. All right, then we have the ones we've always known that are in the Alien franchise. These are our synthetics, aka the androids. Think of Bishop, Ash, Rook from other films. And then this new one that has only showed up in Alien Earth, these are the hybrids, and Wendy is the first. So a hybrid is a synthetic shell that then has a human consciousness dumped into it. So like I was saying earlier, you would think that this is what Weyland initially was after, that this is immortality, even though Boy Genius hasn't figured out how to get adults to cross over yet. But just seeing the writing on the wall, Nick, it's clear that Weyland-Yutani is going to do everything in their power to make sure that their version of immortality wins, which is synths and cyborgs. And like I said, there's a reason we don't hear of Prodigy much in Alien proper. I think it's because they're going to be taken out in this franchise because Boy Genius is going to bite off a bit more than he can chew. All right. Yeah. So there's that clarifications there. Yeah, I think Kirsch is 100% a synth. I agree. Yeah. He's like a Bishop type, even though he's working for Prodigy. But that was also there was a conversation between Dame Sylvia and Boy Genius, or Boy Cavalier, his real name. Why is his name Boy Cavalier? I don't know. But where the Genius is essentially reveals, like, listen, I'm only making these hybrids to finally have an equal to my own intelligence. Yeah. He wants other smart beings to talk to, so he was never really into
he wasn't like trying to save humanity.
No, not at all. It was very selfish what he was doing. But my point back to Kirsch is Dame Sylvia's like, well, what about Kirsch? And he's like, yeah, but he's just database and cataloging things. Like, it's not natural intelligence. So yeah, Kirsch is he's got the white goo in him, as do the hybrids, but the hybrids have human brains. Just listen to Kurt, like in episode 2 in particular, when he gets them on the ship and they're frozen in fear. He's like, "You're not animals. You do not have emotion. Keep walking." Yeah. Like, he's got to keep reminding the hybrids, like, "Yo, you're not a human. You might think so because you got a human brain, but you're not."
Yeah, and it's like your physical form is still human-like, right? Like, you look like a human from the outside, but like technically you're indestructible, or at least as far as we know, they're like indestructible. So it has been interesting watching the kids. Like, these are children. These are probably like 11 to 13-year-old kids that are in these hybrid bodies, like reacting to things as children should. But then, like, as somebody watching it, you're like, dude, you could catch that eyeball and fucking crush it in your hand.
I know, but they don't know. He's like, oh man, just put it in a fucking jar and stick other stuff on top of it.
Yeah. It's like they don't know it. And it's been really interesting watching that. And one of my questions was, like, with this whole hybrid system now, is like, when you're 11 years old, your brain is still forming, right? Like, your brain matter is still forming, your body is still forming. So now that they've essentially transferred the consciousness of this person to a hybrid body, will they continue to mature, right? Like, because your maturation process and everything like that has to do with like not only time and experience, but also your brain maturing and like you being able to process information better, you being able to store more information and understand things differently because of how your brain develops as you get older. So that was like my first question is like, are they gonna be in suspended animation because they don't have a physical human brain to mature, or will they age? That was like
Yeah, well,
something that I
League
was
makes a
interested with
great
the
point. I mean,
hybrids.
remember, Prodigy didn't initially set out to make them
No.
soldiers. He just was like, hey, that's kind of a good idea, and I want what Weyland has, and Weyland-Yutani, sorry, storyteller. So he kind of is sending them not to be expendable, but he knows that's his best bet, the Lost Boys and Wendy's, to get the goods
Yeah.
that were on the Maginot.
And Wendy was all about it because she knew
Of
that her
course.
brother was
Yeah,
there. Like
Joey
Wendy was
D,
ready to go.
aka
Yeah.
Nemec the Hermit. All right, so from the first episode, just a few references that kind of stood out. I mean, Nick brought this up, but just the opening on the Maginot was just a chef's kiss to Alien. I mean, everything about it felt Alien. The inside felt like it was I was waiting for Ripley to walk out of a cabin.
Yeah.
They even had a damn cat, as we learned. Too bad it got by the eyeball thing. But the music, it had like the just the look of in the sounds. It was perfect. I mean, it's a full on Alien homage, which I appreciated. You got to dig Morrow saying "mother" all the time. That's their Mutherai that we've heard Ash and Rook using. The Ice Age and Peter Pan. I mean, that's pretty like right in your face type of references. And I guess, Nick, watching the proper Alien movies, I never knew how directly rooted in our universe this franchise was. I mean, we got Agatha Christie mentions in this, a whole thing on Reggie Jackson and watching old baseball videos. So, I mean, call me stupid. And again, this is my specialty franchise. But I guess I never really picked up on how directly related to our prime Earth Alien is. I mean, it's playing as if this is our Earth in Alien Earth.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like you said, like I've never really, dug into this too much, but like it was very corporate focused and it was like very
I
like
love that.
Earth Corporation stuff like that. So it was a very familiar setting. If you're watching, you'd be like, oh, it's Earth corporations that are doing this. It's not like some, like if you watch another franchise that's not like grounded in Earth as much. They do make everything feel like this came from Earth. We're going back to Earth and everything like
notice
that.
There's no government, Nick. It's all the corporations literally run the universe. I mean, they run Prodigy sent their own search and rescue. There's no local police or army. It's all the I mean, you hear Weyland-Yutani. They own Saturn, Mars, and parts of Earth. It's I do love that aspect, and really, I know that's one of the big themes of Alien in general, especially Alien Earth, is just the dystopia that a world ran by corporations can be. So
yeah, exactly. It's like, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Do we want to allow this to happen? Where it's just like
Christopher Bailey's with us,
are running everything.
They're digging the corporate faction conflict. I know at the beginning they said there's like 5 total corporations that are kind of, but it seems so far that Alien Earth is focusing on Prodigy and Weyland-Yutani. And we know Weyland-Yutani is the one that comes out as the big champion in the end. And I'm hoping that Alien Earth is the vehicle that shows us why. And it's starting to become a bit more clear how they're at least going to take out Prodigy. I mean, it's so set up. Their ship crashed in a Prodigy city, and Prodigy's going after their goods. So yeah. Speaking of the ship crash, Nick, I thought the fallout from that was very well done. I thought it looked fantastic. I just loved all the chaos. I mean, I hate to evoke memories of a terrible day, but it was kind of 9/11ish, if you'll allow me to do that comparison. Nemec running down there. It's kind of funny. I know I keep calling him Nemec, Hermit. I kind of dig that they cast that type of person to be in a security force, if you will. I know he's a medic, but You know, they call him captain. It feels like the other people in the squad don't necessarily love him. I couldn't tell if they're just ribbing him, if they just think he's like dead weight because he is kind of tiny. But I do like that they kind of ran with him as a main, because he's not your traditional male hero type of character. You know, let's be real. He looks like a weenie. He's not a full-on wuss, but he just does not look like someone that is going to be capable of fighting an alien threat. But I kind of dig that. Plus the connection with Wendy and all the weird stuff that kind of elicits here. Yeah, League. The corporate involvement is most notable in Alien Resurrections. Same with Aliens. Like, if you think about it, and Romulus. I mean, you got it. That's why Romulus is such a good middle movie now between Alien and Aliens, because it shows what they did with the Xeno from the Nostromo that we all thought got shot out into the vacuum of space, and how Weyland-Yutani was continuing to fuck around. All right, some other stuff here from, I think, you know, Nick, I don't know how you felt. Did you like their decision on how to relate that the Maginot was fucked? I mean, they didn't show anything clearly. It was all kind of flashy, like beep, 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 beep. Yeah, at one point, it's almost like the eyeball gets out and might cause all the problems, like letting the face huggers out somehow. Would you have preferred that we got to see more of that play out? Or do you think we're going to get to see, through flashbacks, maybe through Morrow talking to Weyland-Yutani, or just him reflecting, do you think we'll ever fully know how the outbreak started? Was it the scientist fucking around with those worms? Was it the eyeball that gets out? Because in one of the screens, I grabbed the eyeball, and it did look like it was attacking it was on something. You can't tell. It's so blurry. I got it up on the screen. You can't tell. But I don't know. It feels like, obviously, the lab was the genesis of the outbreak and then the subsequent crash of the Maginot. But did you like the choice to not really show it in full, or are you hoping we get to learn more?
Yeah, I mean, there's still a little mystery, and I do kind of like that. Also, that it was like that spider thing was really the first one that got out, right? Because you saw that kind of like that's what attacked the doctor, I think, is like in that
the thing she was feeding with the rat, the dead rat that gets the two guys tied to the pole, and they turn into like that oversized mosquitoes.
Yeah, because like while the ship is still in order, like that escapes. That thing gets out and kills the doctor. And then, so like that's the genesis point of it, I think, is like that spider bug.
But you notice the doctor didn't have a chest burst. She was they said she looked asphyxiated. Yeah, right?
Exactly. Like she had the exact same thing happen to her as the two dudes that are tied to the post did. So like that was like I think the first kill ultimately was the spider creature that like sucks everybody's blood out. And then from there, I am interested to see if they do recap that, though, because it is like, okay, well, the doctor's dead, but how the fuck did the whole ship go down? Like,
right, bro, they had chest bursters in them before they went to sleep again. Because as we saw, I mean, I'll cue it up again. We can see there's hell, it's way down here. I don't like this. There we go. Yeah, there's at least two of them that had chest bursters in cryo. And one, I believe, was the girl that Tang was all creepy about. In fact, I'm starting to think Tang, who was a synthetic on the Maginot, may be very much like another one of the androids that go sideways, you know, and really start doing seedy shit for Weyland, like actually impregnating humans and seeing what happens. Because if you notice when we get those scenes early on, that they're kind of talking shit about Tang and how he's kind of goofy, and just stares at the one girl. But if you look when he's staring, I got it up on the screen now. When he's staring at her in cryo, he has his hand held out over her stomach where the chest burster would be growing. So it's almost like he's waiting for it to come. And Nick, back to your point. I think all synths potentially could be connected to each other. They're all androids from Weyland-Yutani, so Tang may know shit from the David we've been talking about in Alien Covenant.
Exactly. And we also see that mirrored in Wendy, because Wendy can control the technology of Prodigy, because when her brother was there trying to get out of the service, she was able to tap into the machine that he was talking to and say the line from
Yes.
Ice Age. And he's
Yep.
like, what the fuck? And they were like, well, she's connected to our technology, but we never thought that she would be able to manipulate it like that. So on the Weyland side of things, I'm sure that these synths that are all connected to Weyland servers and Weyland technology have some way of transferring information or pulling information from other synths. So that, like, I would not be surprised if you're like dead on where like the information that David was able to put together about these creatures was then shared or picked up by Tang, and he's like, well, I can continue to do what David was doing.
Exactly. Okay. All right. See, we're starting to stitch this shit together. Christopher Bailey with a good question. You think Kirsch is going to turn on Wendy and the Lost Boys? 100%. You can already see it. Like they're different. He's full synth, so he has zero motion. These hybrids clearly have not been able to shake their emotions. I mean, hell, Wendy literally was taking over the camera systems at Neverland to spy on her brother nonstop. The other one, the redhead, is literally scared to pieces after her encounter with the eyeball. They still very much think like a human. So when Kirsch starts to force them to do stuff that goes against their human programming, there's gonna be some fallout. And Kirsch,
and it's like
he's a company man, right? He's gonna do anything, just like David did for Weyland. I believe Kirsch is gonna do anything for Boy Genius.
Yeah, I mean, I think so, and I think that one thing that Kirsch really hasn't been able to really grasp yet is that they aren't like him. Like he looks at them and he's like, you're in a synth body, you function the same way that I do, so you should think the same way that I do. But he doesn't really fully grasp yet that these are human minds that are at use, that are at work here. So like there's just this disconnect between like his expectation of what they're able to do or what they should be doing and what they're actually capable of doing, because they have the limitation of a child's mind. So ultimately, like, that's gonna push him over the edge for sure, and like he may end up like, you know, working with Tang in some sort of way, or like side, like, you know, doing.
We haven't even
seen.
Really, I don't think we've seen Tang.
We have not.
Right.
We only saw him in that one scene where like he comes into the room where everybody else is after they were talking shit with him, like you were showing, like looking into the pod where the one girl was still asleep.
Yeah.
So
can we go back to that real quick, and then we'll move into some episode 2 stuff, wrap this up, and do our Star Wars crossover. But at the beginning, did you process it as they awake, kind of have their little family dinner and hang out, but then they go back to bed because they still got 4 months to get to Earth? And that's the way that. So do you think when they are awake, chilling, that's when some of them get infected? Because they do have chest bursters in the cryopods.
Yeah, I'm
but
sure.
How does that that's what I mean. I hope they go back and show more of the Maginot stuff, because I think it was too flashy to really come up with a sound speculation on how shit hit the fan. Clearly, it all started in the lab, I think, with the scientists.
Yeah,
but was she doing all that test before they slept again, and she didn't know that, you know, her friends got face hugged, or did Tang face hug them in secret before he put them down, or when they were sleeping, did he open them and hug them there? I don't know. Or does Tang have nothing to do with this, and it's all Morrow? I don't know. I kind of like it.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna need answers.
That's where my point of confusion. They definitely like wake up, eat, and then go back under cryostasis for sure. So that was kind of my understanding too, is like, okay, like even in long cryostasis, they still need to have like and it didn't have like any sort of like nutrient pump into their body, so they have to wake up and eat. But my thought was like, it has to be Tang that's doing the chest burster implantation, or Morrow. Because I don't think Morrow has to sleep anymore, right? Like he doesn't go. No,
he went down. He went down with the rest of them.
So then it's fucking Tang for sure. Like there's no other way that this could have happened, because the doctor has the doctor is experimenting on these things. She's trying to figure out what these things even do. So I don't even think she would have knowledge enough to know that like how the birthing process of a xenomorph happens. And the only one that would have that information is Tang, because of like what we just speculated about is like
The David
this
walkie-talkie.
yeah, like this synthetic link between him and David through the Weyland Corporation's technology. So,
Actually,
yeah, I mean,
I'm looking at the bursts again, and this one's definitely a dude, unless that girl had a really hairy chest. The other one, it might be the same person, just a different angle. But if you even
angle.
if you look to the left of the shot I have up now, that cryo also looks smashed from the inside. Who knows? I mean, this is
Yeah.
stuff I'm sure we'll eventually find out. But yeah, it's this type of stuff I love. I hope we do get some payoff on the Maginot disaster, because I want to know, like, during that 4 months ride back to Earth after their first wake up, when did all this happen?
Yeah.
Were they fighting it for months at a time, and is that how Morrow knows to somewhat defend himself from it through not being fearful? Like, how did he know they react to fear? Is that a learned behavior, or was he told that to help him better manage the specimens? Because he's the one in there in the end, not Tang. It would usually be Tang, the one on the computer dealing with Mother and talking to the home base at Weyland-Yutani. So clearly Morrow is probably more connected than we think. Definitely more than the other humans. And it makes sense because he is the security officer. So Weyland-Yutani probably let him in on a few more secretive briefings than the other schmoes that got sent on this faithful mission. Christopher Bailey, what was the noise that Wendy kept hearing? What connection does she have with the aliens? I think she could just hear its screams and knew that it was coming.
Yeah.
You know, I think she realized once the blue mist was crossed, which I have questions on, because I think the blue mist pops up in Romulus. Is this a self-defense of the eggs, or did the humans put up that blue mist?
Yeah, that's what I was kind of
As soon as they cross that mist, that alien's like, oh shit, they're after my brood.
Yeah, and like, to our knowledge, at least thus far into the franchise, like Xenomorphs are not like a technologically savvy creature.
Correct.
Like, they're just pure, like, you know.
And it seems like a light system. Like there's light set up to create this.
Yeah.
So is this did Weyland invent this shit, and they knew that or did they pick up eggs too? Are these eggs even from the one? There's no queen on this ship that we know of, Nick. So did Weyland-Yutani pick these eggs up, and they're the ones that put this blue thing here? And if they did, then why the fuck would the Xeno be able to sense when the barriers cross then?
Yeah, like, I don't know if it's like the Xeno can sense when the barriers crossed, or if they can just sense when there are beings close to the eggs that they should be protecting. But yeah, I mean, the Wendy thing is like you said in the beginning.
Sorry, Nick. He asked another one. She's a superhero, Christopher. So yeah, her hearing is going to be intense. We saw she can jump from a cliff. She can run like a Jedi, or at least Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan before they forgot how to run like that. So yeah, I mean, definitely her hearing is tuned in. I don't know why the other ones didn't quite pick up on it. She is the first of her kind, so she may be extra special. You never know.
Yeah,
but...
and like, I think that she's just so much more heightenedly attuned at that time, because it's like, I'm protecting my brother, so I need to like make sure that whatever is happening here, I'm keeping track of, because there's somebody that I care about. All the other kids are like, they have fucking no clue what's going on. They're just like, they're scared of everything. It's like sensory overload, especially in a body that they're new in. But it seems like because she was first, because she's had more time to adjust to her abilities and stuff, like, she's kind of got it a little bit more fine-tuned than the other Lost Boys do.
All right, a few things from the second episode I want to go through here. You know, we got some great Xenomorph stalking. That's a staple of Alien. I think they did a good job there. We talked about how Cavalier invented the hybrids just so he could have interesting conversations. I thought that's an interesting angle, and not too far off from a few other eccentric trillionaires that we might know about. I did find the second episode to be a bit slow to start versus the first, but it definitely picks up once we get that face pop kill. And really, I mean, like I said, many boxes checked in this premiere. I think one of the biggest is seeing the guns with the bullet counter and that iconic sound. That is, in my opinion, the alien machine gun report is the greatest gun sound in all of sci-fi. Even better than Star Wars pew pews. I mean, that is just such a cool sounding machine gun. Am I right, people? Come on, you gotta love that. It's like,
Yeah.
So that was good to see. We talked about how Yutani clearly already had a weapon to subdue a xenomorph. Was it only for the Xeno, or was this for the mission? Because we know there's at least 3 other crazy ass alien types that like to infect organics. I mean, the eyeball infects organics, clearly. The worms will suck all their blood out, and who knows what they're going to do with their second form. And then we still have not yet to see what the ceiling pod could do to a human. So, Nick, do you think... I still love your connection with, hey, maybe because of, time travel and cryo sleep that David was eventually able to get the message to them and kind of divert them. But do you think initially the goal of the Maginot crew was just, who knows where Weyland-Yutani would have got the idea, but was it to go out and find bioweapon-esque aliens and bring them back for testing?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it, just because of how that ship is equipped, right? Like the ship was equipped in its laboratory with like very, very sturdy holding equipment. Like, we're expecting to put things in here that could potentially break out. So just looking at that and how the ship was stocked and and the fact that they had a biologist on the ship to do the types of testing that they were doing, like they clearly had a directive. Like, yeah, it's a deep space mission. Yeah, deep space missions usually bring back, like the kid said, like, or like somebody said, like, aren't specimens usually dead? Like, in the second episode, is like usually when they bring specimens back, they're dead. Like, but clearly the impetus here was bring back living specimens for us to be able to do significant testing on. And maybe the entire purpose of that was for that end goal of like, is there any organism out there that we can do tests on, extract things on to help extend human life, or to help to facilitate this idea of immortality that Weyland's been trying to accomplish. So I do think that, like,
I like you brought that up, because the whole motivation between when it was just Weyland and then it became Weyland-Yutani changed. And maybe they'll get into that, because initially Peter Weyland, like I said, Prometheus, his only goal, he didn't know about the Xenomorphs. He had an inkling about the engineers and what they could do, and he wanted to be immortal. But it eventually turns into, by the time we get to Alien and Aliens and beyond, and even Romulus now, it's very clear Weyland-Yutani wants these things as a bioweapon, and they are doing anything in their power to get them, study them, and try to somehow control them, and then use it to unleash on their enemies. So when did their philosophy change from immortality to, oh crap, look at these things, we need this is going to make us the greatest corporation in the galaxy? So that's why I love this show. I while it is mostly ignoring the prequels, with Nick's bridge that he gave us, I think that makes a ton of sense. I hope we get more into Weyland-Yutani's ultimate motivations with the Maginot mission, what actually happened on the Maginot, and obviously we are going to get the post fallout of the crash. I would assume by episode 3, Weyland-Yutani is going to show up, and that's just going to introduce a whole other mix of characters and probably revelations, hopefully. As we wrap this up, Nick, did you find when Wendy and Joe first met to be a bit stiff and awkward? Not just acted stiff and awkward, not necessarily their characters are like, well, you're supposed to be dead, awkward. I don't know. I just had a note down that I must not have liked their reunion for whatever reason. I just said it felt stiff and awkward.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that from Joe's perspective, but I guess it's like, I didn't notice it as anything like off-putting.
Okay.
I'll just put it that way. But Joe was like, there's no fucking way that this is real. And that's why it was like he's like, question, like trying to break it. And then finally realizes like, oh shit, like this is actually real. But yeah, like a little bit of stiffness, but I didn't find it to be anything that was like really off-putting. And it kind of made sense character-wise, especially from what that dude was literally almost just fucking murked by this random creature
Like I
he's never
said,
seen before.
I watched it. I watched it late. And sometimes I might just be cranky. You never know. Maybe I got a wrong hit of the juice. Who knows? But I was like, I just said it felt awkward. I still think everyone needs to go back and watch the birth of Wendy, because it goes from the little girl in the room to just like a rock and roll montage, kind of bad looking CGI of Wendy sitting high up on a cliff. And then Dame Sylvie comes, and she literally Superman X-Men jumps down and just goes and runs away. It's like, okay, that just felt a little bit out of place after we just saw a terminally ill child essentially commit to being the first person to ever have her essence transferred to a machine body. But hey, oh well, it happens. You can't win them all. All right, this is a question that's been killing me, because this guy shows up twice in the premiere. And Nick, you're probably not watching the screen, but it's the dude in like full hazmat gear at Prodigy headquarters, scrubbing scorch marks on a wall. We see this twice, and it's very particular. They show this dude trying to clean what looked like some sort of disaster that happened on Neverland. So what the hell do you think this is? And are we going to get a payoff on this?
Yeah, I did notice that, and I'm just like so unsure about like what he could be doing, right? Is it like, I don't think it's related to the kids, because the kids don't seem to understand. Like if Wendy could shoot fire out of her hands, I feel like we would have seen her do it.
Yeah, it looks like scoring from a blaster or something, right?
Yeah,
like an explosion or fire.
Yeah, I mean, clearly there's other experimentation happening here in Prodigy, so maybe this is like results of other experiments that are still actively going on in Neverland, but we haven't really been hinted at what it could be yet, right? Like, so I'm not really sure, but I did notice that.
Okay,
erasing the past. Yeah,
it just seemed like Noah, because I know he did the first. I forget who directed the second one, but it seemed they both went out of their way to make sure, like, hey, people watching this, there's a reason we're showing you this random hazmat dude spraying whatever on a wall that looks highly damaged from fire, blaster, explosion type of stuff. And I do believe it's at the Neverland compound that we see Boy Cavalier.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Just want to make sure everyone picked up on that one. And I had a question, but I still think Nick got it. I was like, I'm wondering if this is how Weyland-Yutani found out that the Xenos were ultimate war machines, just based on what that thing did within the first 10 minutes of crash landing. I mean, that party that it goes to, it's just, I mean, it is indiscriminate mutilation. I think, I know I saw it in the live stream chat here. If you ever want to join the live stream chat, don't forget Wednesdays, 5:30 East, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. But I saw some people in there like League saying this Xeno seemed overly violent and not worried about bringing back bodies for, to become hosts. Yeah. But if there's no queen, he probably doesn't have that programming, because only the queen can lay eggs. I don't believe the soldiers, the Xenos, have that capability. So I'm really believing the eggs we see on the Maginot were probably lifted along with the face huggers by the Maginot crew. Unless they got a fucking queen on there somewhere that we're gonna be exposed to down the road. I mean, that's a possibility.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, it's a pretty large ship, but I guess it would be possible, but man, it would be a stretch if they had a queen on there. It almost feels like they found eggs along with it, and then just took them, and that would also line up with like they're going to the planet that David was on and was aware of what was there, and had some sort of knowledge of like the creature itself and like the process of it, because of David's connection to Weyland.
That's why they had to have known something at some point in time, and that's why I hope to God you get honored for this, because I think your theory is the best, which sometimes usually doesn't end up being the case. Yeah, Christopher's asking how many eggs. I could try to pull it up again real quick, but
I
We got
think
one,
it
two,
was
three,
like
four, five, six, at least six, Christopher, at least six
yeah.
eggs on the ship, which are now on Earth, which is a major
Yeah.
problem. Because, like Nick said earlier, Xenomorphs are their peak at everything. They're peak warrior, peak predator. They can reproduce, lickety split. I mean, we've seen it, especially in Aliens. I mean, it was out, not LV-426. That was from the first movie, I think, but an entire colony gets taken out by aliens, and there's a queen there, and she just keeps reproducing.
Mm-hmm.
And once you have enough soldiers, I mean, they could easily take over planets. I'm not sure what they would do once a planet's taken over. They seem to just destroy and consume, but that's kind of their purpose, or at least the way they've been explained to us. All right, for the sake of time, Nick, I think we're going to go ahead and move into our Star Wars crossover. We're going to have to keep it fairly quick here, but that's fine. I wasn't planning on having big combos anyways. But because we are the Star Wars Time Show, we're like, hey, just because we're covering Alien Earth doesn't mean we're going to completely cut out on Star Wars. We're creative motherfuckers. We use AI, okay? And we're like, hey, how can we cross this over with some Star Wars stuff? So this week, we're going to kind of look at a few questions, a few maybe creature battles, if you will, and have a little bit of fun, all right? Here we go. So Aliens versus Star Wars. Who wins? I like what Nick did here, all right? So we got Rancor versus a Xenomorph swarm. The fans both went with the swarm, Nick, so what would you say?
Yeah, I think for me, it's probably the swarm as well. If it was just like 2, I feel like the Rancor might be able to hold its own. But if it's more than 2, I think it's in trouble. It's just slow. Xenos are pretty quick, especially the Xenos that we've seen in Alien Earth. Like they are fast, they are lethal, they don't waste any time. So my vote goes to the Xenomorph swarm.
Yeah, here's the deal. To me, it's a no contest because even if the Rancor gets to kill some, how does he kill things? By crushing or biting. And what's going to happen when you crush or bite a Xeno? Acid's going to leak out of him. So he's either going to melt off his hands or melt off his jaw, and then he's completely useless, and they go to town on him. So as much as we love our Rancor, like what's his name, Malakiki. This is a no contest. No contest. All right. Next one. We're talking about Star Wars creatures versus alien creatures. This is another fun one. We were just talking about her. So, Nick, we've got the Acklay, the big green spider crab looking thing, scorpion looking thing from Attack of the Clones, versus a Xenomorph queen.
Yes, indeed. So for me, this one's probably the closest that we have thus far, because Xeno queens like are pretty, like, especially when they're like birthing, they're like pretty immobile, right? Like, but they're huge. They're huge. And I don't know if they're as big as Acklays or if Acklays are bigger than them, but Acklays seem like they're pretty deadly. I'm like 50-50 on this one, but I feel like the Acklay might be able to hold its own. The only thing that would be an issue is that Xeno queens have hands, and that's something that Acklays don't have, and that's a huge advantage. So if the queen can like grip the, like some of its legs and then go at it, maybe the queen wins. But
yeah,
Acklay initially.
I agree. This one's a little more difficult because I do think the Acolyte has the size advantage and potentially reach advantage if people are into fighting. So, to me, Nick, if the Acolyte's able to get off one good down stab strike, like it was trying to do the Obi-Wan Kenobi, and catches the queen right in the dome, it might be able to pierce her armor, but it's got to know as soon as it does that, it's losing that limb. And I don't know how well this thing's going to walk on, lopsided leg, because it is very insecty. But on the other hand, like you said, if the queen can get in close, I think it's over. She can just put it in a headlock and start mouth stabbing it with her mini head, or use her tail to whip off its legs and stuff.
Whip it around. I think it's a closer fight.
Yeah, I think this one maybe even goes 2 rounds, but just for the pure fact that these things were bred and exist to destroy, I think I'm still taking the queen.
Yeah. Makes sense.
All right. Okay. Storyteller went with Acklay there. All right, this one I thought was crazy, but we'll run with it. I like it. You know, I like sometimes when the AI gets a little squirrely here, but
yeah, like weird shit.
so we have it. I guess it makes sense. It's like, well, you know, Sarlaccs are mostly just a big stomach, so we have Sarlacc versus chest bursters multiple. So imagine a Sarlacc ate a whole nest of eggs and then had the or got attacked by a nest of face huggers, and then they laid 50 chest bursters in it. Who takes this?
I know. It's this one's so funny, right? Because it's like, does the Sarlacc even have the necessary components that it need that a face hugger / chest burster would need to like grow to like to fully come to form?
Remember, it digests over 1,000 years, so they're gonna have all sorts of food down there.
Yeah, so like I think that ultimately, like, because you would need so many chest bursters because Sarlaccs are fucking huge, right? Like we've seen the extrapolation of this. It's like so big.
They're massive. I mean, I think you need another swarm of these bad boys to do it.
Yeah. I think the Sarlacc would win purely because of its size, and I don't know if that would kill them, right? Like I don't know how, like, yeah, I don't know. It's just so hard to tell, but here's the thing is, like, I don't think the Sarlacc would die, but I also don't think that the chest bursters would die. I think that like what would end up happening,
they would
is
just
like
love each other. It would be a symbiotic relationship. Like, yo, it's warm in here. Like, you keep eating shit to feed me. I'm good.
Yeah, and then like it births, so like the chest burster births, and then it would just be like an endless supply of Xenos coming out of the Sarlacc, because as far as I know, I don't know where its like vital organs are. Like we've never seen anything that, like, I guess the closest that it got to being fully killed was like,
well, Boba dropped a seismic charge on it. So
yeah, like that was it. Like it got exploded, but like that count. And then like they used to get eaten by crate dragons. That was the only other way that I know that they were killed, is like they were eaten fully by crate dragons. So I would say that it's a draw almost.
Yeah, I'm down with that. It really depends on the numbers here. If you had an overwhelming number of chest bursters, it's over. I mean, they're never going to digest in time, as Storyteller was saying here. You know, Boba was chilling for who knows how long. It depends on the number, but I can go with a draw for this one. All right. So another question here, as we're trying to tie the Star Wars Time Show to Alien Earth: which galaxy has deadlier predators? Well, this is a trick question, Nick, because according to a Star Wars comic from a few years ago, we saw a Xeno skull and a predator mask. So
they're in our universe.
There we go. They're in the Star Wars galaxy too.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an even Steven here.
Now it's all linked.
We're all the same galaxy, bro. Yeah. We're all the same galaxy.
Xenos are in Predators are in the Star Wars universe, and we know for sure that Xenos and Predators exist in our universe as well. So we're just all one big motherfucker. But I like, if we had to separate it out, like thus far in the Star Wars galaxy, creature wise, we've seen a lot of stuff. And I would probably say that there's enough things in the Star Wars galaxy that are deadly enough to put up a fight against just predators and aliens, to say that like maybe the Star Wars galaxy is a little bit deadlier. Like we've seen some fucked up shit in Star Wars, like some very, very large, like Rancors are very large.
Crate dragons, they seem crate dragons, formidable.
The beast that from fucking Bad Batch, what was that called again?
Oh damn it! I know exactly what you're talking about. It was in the Clone Wars too.
Yeah, it was. It was like the
Rathtars.
Beast.
Storyteller saying Abeloth. You know,
Abeloth, is that a beast though? I mean, I guess that counts. Abeloth,
she's creature-esque.
Yeah, creature-esque. Like there's, I think it's Star Wars.
Sith Hounds.
I think it's Star Wars.
Yeah, I'd say in terms of sheer numbers, it's probably Star Wars. But it's when we're saying deadlier predators, I don't think Crate Dragon exists to just go around and kill shit indiscriminately, where that's pretty much what the Xenos are, and the Predators are literally, they call themselves Predators, because all they do is try to find the best shit to hunt. So if we're breaking this down semantically, just purely deadlier, I'm gonna go with AVP. All right.
Okay.
The Zillow Beast. Thank you, Storyteller. We're getting too damn. I used to be able to recall this shit left and right. I need to stop doing drugs. I really do. I need to stop doing drugs. And the last one here. Could a Jedi tame a Xenomorph with the Force?
Could a Jedi tame a Xenomorph with the Force? And that's the thing is like, I don't think so. I will say I don't think so because I don't think that their mind functions in a way that a Jedi could understand to tame it. That's
okay. So you're talking about taming it mentally. Now, what if they tamed it with like using the Force to rip it apart?
Okay, yeah. So like if it's like a physical fight, I think a Jedi probably could. I mean, we've seen Jedi fucking pull spaceship like starships down out of space, so I don't think it's like a strength of force thing. And we've also like we know that they're very, very good combatants. They can actually see attacks coming at them before it happens. Right. So I think that I will say this, I think that a lightsaber could cut through
100%. The problem is if you do it too closely, you always have the acid blood that's gonna fucking meatbag. Yeah,
I gotta make sure you don't get sprayed.
Unless it's explained, like, you know, how there are other species in Star Wars that can block the Force or their resistance to the Force. Unless we learn that, I still think the Force trumps all living things. I mean, if you want to, Vader sees a pack of Xenos coming at him, he could just two-hand raise it up and go and fucking explode them all in the air. So yes, Jedi, Sith, I do believe a Force user, unless Xenomorphs are Force resistant, could tame, whatever you want to call it, a Xenomorph.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Good stuff there.
Yeah, and we'll be doing this for each Alien Earth breakdown. We'll always try to tie in some Star Wars, but now to kind of close out episode 366. It's time for the fan segment. We do it every week. There's two ways to get involved. We got the question of the week, which is usually going to be themed around our main topic. So this week I think we asked our fans same thing we just talked about. You know, what sort of Star Wars creatures could take on a Xenomorph? So if you ever want to get involved, just make sure you're following us on our socials, look for the question, and respond. There's a great chance you will be featured. Storyteller, I love that you've stuck with us throughout. We appreciate you. Hopefully you'll consider a sub, and I'm glad you're enjoying the little shit show we put on every Wednesday. All right, but now it's time to review the question of the week responses. All right, Nick, we got a few.
Right.
Got a few. Just let me get it pulled up for you. And okay, you can start going.
What Star Wars creature could take on a Xenomorph, if any? We got Michael Kramer, Mac122198 says, oh gosh, a Nogri would be the best logical answer. All right.
That's that little kind of Thrawn thing that blocks the Force, right?
Yeah, that's what I was just confirming.
Okay.
Right now. Yeah, so that's kind of what it is. It's like they're like synth. Yeah. So that's what it is.
Well, okay. I mean, they're tiny. I'd see a Xenomorph probably not even. Actually, he's probably right, because a Xenomorph be like, "What are you? Get away! I don't even care about you."
Well, actually, the Nogri were humanoid, but it was like they were like assassins for Grand Admiral Thrawn. Like, I don't know how big they were, but they were like a humanoid faction that were essentially like trained assassins for Thrawn.
All right, before we do Divided, I got Storyteller coming in with a crate dragon or a mythosaur. It's like, yeah.
Mythosaur.
Size.
Yeah, I would say
size helps.
Size alone. Yeah, for sure. So that helps. But yeah, Divided Skywalker says Baby Yoda with a winky face.
Hey, it
just
it
used
tamed,
the Force at the right time.
Tamed a Rancor, so she's not wrong. Not wrong.
Boba's Vet says Rathtar for sure. Rathtar. Those look like they could fuck some
spinning
stuff up
balls of tentacle death from the Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Yep.
Phil says giant space worm from ESB. That's another like Sarlacc type of question. It's like if they eat it, can it like fight its way out?
Well, I mean, a damn ship was able to fly out, so
Yeah.
there's a good chance if it gets a swarm of Xenos in there, it's gonna
Yeah.
be dead. Even if it
It'll
came out of its hull and fell on them, it's their acid blood is the great equalizer. It's like he might
Yeah, I
take
know.
them all out, but he's probably gonna die himself in the end.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. SISX says banthas, they seem indestructible.
I would like to see a
Maybe.
Bantha Xeno hybrid because they sometimes will take
Oh my
on.
gosh.
You know, if we could face hug a Bantha, you never know what that Xeno would look like coming out of it.
That's right. All right. Big Dizzle Niz, that's Base and Brazen, says 2 words, crate dragon. Could
All
I
right,
mean,
there's
like they
another
could.
crate.
Crate dragon seems to be a popular response. EKU Rory says the Ewoks. How many Ewoks does it take to kill one Xeno?
They took out the Empire's machinery. You never know.
They did. Veer Melior 1 says, if any, oh please, the Gendai like Dirge. I don't think a Kalish could take out a Xeno, but they would be a fight. They're both warrior culture. Basilisk like Ponkrell, Doughton, Shivastavan, which I'm not sure about. I don't think that Huts could. I mean, like maybe there's Hut lore that I don't know about.
Hold
but
on,
like, I don't think
we got to see the Gladiator Hut next year, Nick, and then we can make a final decision on that. But
yeah,
like just straight Huts, no way. I mean, they're just fat slugs that need machines to move them around, so no way.
Yeah, like the Yuzon Vong I can vibe with. I think that I think that the Gen, so far what he said, I think that the Gendai might could put.
Oh
up
yeah,
a fight.
yeah. You remember Dirge is nothing
fight.
but a bunch of worms that can form a bigger body.
Yeah,
so
for sure. So like they're in there. I think that the Yuzon Vong could. Celestials are like, I mean, Celestials are Celestials. Findians and then Zycharians. So listed a lot here from Veer Melior. So went deep into the Star Wars creature lore to find the perfect combatants for the Xenos.
The Verminoth is another good one storyteller's bringing up. I remember Vader riding one of those in on Exegol.
Yeah. 619,
another
Victor
Vonger.
Alfonso, another Yuzon Vong. So I think that's definitely a popular choice as a Vong. 2797 Studios says, if humans could take them somewhat, then I do think most Mandos or Force users stood a chance if properly armed. Droids, KX security droids, maybe. Yeah, I mean, I think that Mandos would hold a good shot too because of their armor, Beskar armor. So even if you got like a swipe in, you cut off a limb or something like that, you would probably be protected.
That would be a good. Blood. We need an experiment. Can Beskar withstand acid? Probably, right? I mean,
I would say so.
It can withstand a light blade.
Yeah, if it can like deflect lightsaber blades, I feel like acid blood, it would just drip.
Nick,
off
this one's for you, coming from Phil. What were the invisible beasts on Korriban in KOTOR 2? I cannot remember.
Oh shit, I do remember that. I remember that too. Gosh, I can't remember it now. That I know exactly because we played that game together as well. I can't remember exactly what they're called anymore, but I think that would also hold up to a fight with a Xeno. League says, for the simple reason of their affinity communicate to animals. I would say Ezra or Ahsoka. At least they can ask why the aliens are so angry all the time.
He's like,
he's
like doing the Crocodile
like,
Dundee. He's like,
it's like, I know that I could just rip your limbs off with the Force, but I want to find out your motivation before I do that.
If it did happen, I could see Ezra and Ahsoka doing it and then riding them in like they, riding the wolves. So that would be fun.
And then Scion XCC says, if it's a single Xeno, then a Rancor would do just fine. I agree with that. But if it's a swarm of Xenos, I don't think that any creature would win. Like, that's the thing is, like, if it's a swarm of Xenos, even versus, like, 3 Jedi, like, how big is a swarm? 20, 30? Like, I think a Jedi would have a hard time with, like, 20 or 30 Xenos. But that's it. So I think that there are some good combatants for Xenos in the Star Wars universe. Sure. A lot of them were named here by our our loyal fans here on
The
Instagram
Force, Nick,
and YouTube.
it's kind of like your argument against Superman. I mean, it's OP against other
Yeah.
franchises, really.
That's the
So,
thing
I
is like
mean-
I can literally like I have shown to you in my franchise that powerful Force users can literally rip starships out of space.
I mean, one
and then,
motherfucker drains
like,
planets. It's like, come
yeah,
on,
like
let's go.
Darth Nihilus can drain the entire life force from a planet. So yeah, I feel like they could fuck up a Xenomorph.
Yeah, if
That's
they
just
needed
like
to.
yeah.
In
No
Xenos,
problem.
they still they're very hive mind, if you will, especially if a queen's present. I mean, they operate
Yeah.
like ants. Let's be real. I don't think they have a lot of free will outside
Yeah,
of
no,
killing the shit out. Like this one in Alien Earth, bro. It's doing nothing but wanton murder. I mean, it doesn't give a shit about fuck. It's just like, if you're in my path, I am gonna rip you to pieces. Unless you're Moro, and then we're buddies.
And then they're like, forget about that. But
All
yeah,
right.
thank you to everybody for your involvement in the question of the week. To get involved with that, make sure to follow us on Instagram at StarWarsTime.show and check out your story and posts. We will post those every Tuesday before the show. That's how you get involved with the question of the week. Send your responses through Instagram or our YouTube community. You can also jump into our Discord.
That's right.
And drop some responses there. Open link in our Instagram description.
Bingo.
Now we're going to move on to top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week. Same way to get involved. Add tag at StarWarsTime.show on all of your Instagram Star Wars posts. That's how you get in the tag feed, and that's where I pull the top 5 from. So for this week, we have Toyverse Rick coming in with the awesome scene recreation from episode 4. You see Luke in the full stormtrooper getup where he's rescuing his not yet known to be sister, Princess Leia, from the clutches
this
of
is when he's
Empire.
chubbing up for her, Nick. He's getting hard on for it.
Yeah.
Like, yo, what
He
do
was
you think about the
still
princess, bro?
Yeah, very attracted to the princess. But this is a great Dio setup here from Toyverse Rick. Great posing, everything here to really capture that Death Star look.
Little inside note,
Rick.
Toyverse Rick also put out a version of this animated by AI, and it's pretty neat. I listen, I know people are ragging on AI, and things are getting scary. The AI never scares me. It's the people that are in control of it, and there's some, I love when when the toy photographers use AI to bring their shots to life, and it always does a good job making them like walk or kind of have the cadence or the emotion that the shot evokes. Yeah. So quality stuff here from Toyverse Rick, all one word on Instagram. All right, Nick, who is next? Right. Hey, next, look at this. What a perfect pick. Look at you.
There we go. I was ready for it. So this is 850 Sith Lord. And this is a shot. This is a cross-universe shot between what we were just talking about. Aliens versus Force users. We have Savage Opress and his bro, Maul, fighting off a bunch of Xenos. We got 3 Xenos down already. You see chest bursters on the ground. You see face huggers on the ground too. They're fighting them all. They're taking them all out. So who can take out Xenos? These guys.
We should have done this first before question of the week, because this solves it right here. If you have 2 Zabraks with double bladed lightsabers in the Force, it's no contest. I mean, look at it.
Yeah.
There's chest bursters down there. I mean, this is a great shot, man. This is awesome. Yeah. Face huggers, chest bursters, full Xenos. And the bros just taking them all down. I like Savage. They're like stepping on their necks and stabbing down at them.
Yeah, dude. That's what they do now. That's what Savage and Maul do in the Star Wars universe. They're like, we're your call to exterminators for xenomorph problems in the Star Wars. You got Xenos on your planet? Give us a call. We'll come take them out.
Dr. Penguin. The answer to your question is too many to count. Thank you.
850 Sith Lord on Instagram. Next up, we have Black Series Daily Desk, and Black Series Daily Desk has given us a cool little shot
2 captains
here of Han Solo
that never really liked each other.
Yeah, of Han Solo and Harrison Dula. And what are they talking about? The final battle at the end of ROTJ. We see the hollow projection of Darth Vader's Superstar Destroyer. they're probably talking about strategies. How do we take this thing out? How can we fight against something like this? Han's saying it's easy. Hera's like, are you fucking crazy? It's a cool little shot here from Black Series.
Well, I just like that the caption in unison, we'll take my ship, your ship, and he's playing on a dynamic between these two that I think Nick was first brought up in that Forces of Destiny animated shorts from way back when. But yeah, it was made clear that these two really like their ships more than the other person's ship, and they think their ship is prime over the other person. So it's kind of a funny take there. I like that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense for these two. They definitely both love their individual ships, the Ghost and the Millennium Falcon. So definitely makes sense for those two. But good stuff there, Black Series Daily Desk on Instagram. Next up, we have one of our faves. We got Sir Dork here, Sir.Dork on Instagram. Always in the chat as well. Love seeing Jared around. And that's right. Matt's giving you the music. Jared's giving you the visuals. It's the Battle of the Heroes happening right here. Awesome shot here.
This is the SDCC exclusive set that people are killing themselves to get. And of course, the Dork making it look great. But yeah, apparently, Nick, this was the hot item this year out in San Diego for Black Series collectors.
There we go. And Jared's giving a shout out to Visual Force and Jenard on Instagram for grabbing the set for him. And he's put it to good use. Love the signature bokeh from Sir Dork coming from the right side.
Crackling balls.
Locked in combat. Boom. All of it right there. Signature style. Always looks good from Sir.Dork on Instagram.
Give him a follow if you like toy photography, especially on YouTube.
That's right. And to close out this week's top 5,
it's a new one.
A noob right here. Gundam 224U. Gundam 224U. And they're giving us a really cool looking shot of Vader just unleashing his wrath upon everybody in his presence. You see clone troopers. You see stormtroopers. You see rocks getting lifted up in the air. The cool little like cloud setting in the background. Darth Vader definitely looks super powerful in this shot. So good stuff here from Gundam 22 for you on Instagram.
That's right. We might be getting some art from Storyteller. It just asks how do we get involved. So yeah. So I replied to you in chat, Story, but if you use the hashtag Star Wars Time Show on IG, and more importantly, add tag at StarWarsTime.show. That's where Nick picks the top 5. So by all means, I know we looked at a bunch of toy photography, but we'll take any sort of Star Wars art, even if you mold it out of your own fecal matter. So
we're like we feature vector artists, we feature painters, we feature sketch art, whatever you got. Tag us in it. Add tag at StarWarsTime.show.
Stick drawings doesn't matter. If it moves us, we'll talk about it. So.
That's right. That is right. So hey. That's the end of the top 5 for this week. That's the end of the show for this week. So, Matt, go ahead and close us out.
You know what? That was fun. I'm glad we kind of made this pivot. I'm looking forward to the next few weeks. But with that being said, I got some notes for next week. So, it's young Nick's birthday, and he's going on a trip. So, he's not going to be here next Wednesday. The other problem I'm running into is I get the benefit of aging. So, I'm going for my first colonoscopy next Thursday, which means starting tomorrow, I have to start my 7-day prep. The problem is Wednesday is D-Day for the colonoscopy. So that means I'm not eating anything, and then I'm essentially drinking the mega prescription laxatives for a good part of the day. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to sit in my seat and actually do a live show for a very long time next Wednesday. I hope to be able to do something. Just keep your eye on the Discord or the socials. You know me, I'll have something out next Monday or Tuesday if I'm a go. But I would like to kind of keep this train up and at least cover episode 3 next week solo, and then when Nick comes back, we can just jump right into 4. All right, League, I'll hit you up on some colonoscopy talk. Hopefully you don't have the 7-day prep like I do. My sister's like, I only had like 3 days. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I mean, literally, Nick, starting tomorrow, I can't take my vitamins. I can't take my fiber supplement. I'm like, why can't I take that? Fiber is what allows me to pass massive shits and keep my colon clean. And they're like, no, you can't do that. So I'm like, by the time I get there, my asshole is going to be bloody raw from essentially shitting out rocks, because you can't have raw vegetables. You pretty much can't have anything that's good. All you can have is
that's crazy.
Right? That's what I thought. I was like, well, what's the point? But anyways, yeah, we'll see. So I'm not fully canceling next week. Knowing myself and me being on vacation, there's an 85% chance that I'm doing something with Alien Earth Episode 3 with a mini crossover segment for Star Wars next week. All right? Just keep your eyes peeled. If you're subbed up, I'm sure you'll get the notifications and all that stuff. But it will be a solo show next week. It might not even be live. Just keep your eyes open. Keep your head on a swivel. All right, my friends? There's always time for Star Wars time. And these days, there's always time for some Xeno time. So keep tuning in. We'll cover the full Season 1 run of Alien Earth over the next few weeks. I think it's going to take us up through mid-September, end of September. And then we'll be back to pulling shit out of our wazoo, as they like to say, coming up with random segments. So if you're in our Discord and you have an idea for us, go ahead and let us know. We always appreciate what the fans would like to do, because these days there's not much to cover in the land of Star Wars that isn't just made-up segments or fan-driven type of rankings. So please, by all means, if you got stuff you want us to touch on, our ears are open. All right. I know I said it once. I'm going to say it again. There's always time for Star Wars time. And if you listen to the Star Wars Time show, the Force will be with you. And the hybrids. And Wendy. And the Lost Boys. Always.